A loaded triple header tops UFC 261 on Saturday, but I don't have to tell you which fight I'm most excited for. Yes, strawweights always deliver, and we got Rose Namajunas in the co-main event looking to get that title back against the great Zhang Weili. Rose, I love talking with you because you bring it. You're honest. You just like in the damn cage here. Let's talk mindset to kick things off. You're going back in there to get your belt back. Tell me exactly what's going through your head just a few days out from Jacksonville here.
I'm focused on the task at hand, being in the present moment, in control of myself, and just focusing on performing and doing my best. And when I do my best, I am the best.
I believe that. So let's stick with that for a second. I've said this before many times. You've had ups and downs in your career. You've had peaks and valleys, but when you're peaking, I think you're the best strawweight UFC has ever seen. I think you're one of the best female fighters in history. How do you stay at that level?
Well, lots of honesty, self-reflection, lots of hard work. And I mean, there's a million things you got to do.
When you look at this fight, I loved the honest comments. I think you talked to Ariel about it where, you said you didn't want to make it all about the belt when you were climbing the hill to win it. Then you won it and you found that you were kind of making it all about the belt. And I even loved your honest take after the loss to Andrade, where you were just like, I didn't want it anymore. So I'm saying you wear your heart on your sleeve. What is your mindset about the belt specifically as you go back in there now to try to win it again?
Oh, I just remember what Dana told me a long time ago, that the belt is the key to everything. And that's basically what it is. It's just a tool. And so, it's just what comes. It's the product of just me, performing my best and doing my best. But I know that it can open many doors to, future goals that I have and visions that I have. And so, it's hugely, hugely motivating. And it's it can be viewed as a materialistic thing, but it can also be a tool, and it can be misused or it can be used very well. It just depends on the person using it.
So do you feel like you learned the right amount of wisdom you needed to put the belt in the right mindset and and give it the right value it actually deserves entering this second chance?
Yeah, I definitely have. I've learned to be more grateful. I've learned to have a healthy perspective on life, be more positive, and I have a clear vision of, what it is that I can do with it, and just what I want to do with my life going forward.
All right, I got a two-part question here about your fantastic rematch with Jessica Andrade, which got you into this chance to win back your title. And, the narrative was that you went in there and sort of, slayed your demons and got back to who you needed to be ready for this fight. And I give you credit. So that third round, it looked like you walked through hell. Was it fun? Was it scary? Was it crazy? What did you learn about yourself going through that?
That I am super tough, that I am super strong, and it was scary, crazy, fun, exciting, all of those things all in one. And I learned. It was just a huge maturing process for me.
And the other part of that question I wanted to sort of ask was, you still hear the whispers lingering where Rose was, maybe thinking about not fighting again after the first Andrade fight. Was that blown up by the media? Was that real? Where do you think you were really at in terms of whether this was a guarantee that you were going to come back?
So after the first fight with Andrade, I definitely wasn't thinking about fighting ever again. I was definitely doubting what I was going to do with my life. But after the rematch, there was no doubt that I would fight again. It was just a matter of healing up and being ready to go whenever the call comes,
Well, when those comments from UFC president Dana White made the rounds, and then you came out and sort of squashed those, were you hurt by that? What was that all about? Negotiations? What was that?
No, I wasn't hurt by that at all. I don't know what it was about. Honestly, I just kept doing my thing, kept training, and I wasn't worried about anything. I think I was told, the date, April 24th, and I didn't know who it was going to be, but it was fine with me. I was just doing my job.
Well, it's going to be Zhang Weili, who, of course, had that 5-round classic, that thriller with Joanna Jedrzejczyk, someone you know very well. Probably, short list of greatest MMA fights of all time, regardless of gender, but certainly on the female side. I remember your comments in the past about that, but as you sort of look back at that fight as a preparation for facing Weili, you impressed by her in that performance? Did you learn a lot where there's mistakes you can fill in and correct for her? What do you sort of stand on that?
Yeah, hugely impressed with that fight. Obviously, the heart display was on 10. It was amazing. I think that it was a great, exciting fight for the fans, and it definitely. I mean, obviously, there's after watching that, I feel like I can expose some holes in there, but I mean, that's just where my mind goes, but overall, I mean, it was a great performance.
We have to believe, knowing your two styles, that a great portion of this fight will certainly be on the feet, where you're such a strong technical puncher. You can finish. Weili has shown us how powerful and aggressive she can be. But how much do you think the ground will be a factor in this, and how much do you think you have an advantage coming in those categories?
I've improved everywhere in my game. My skill has gone up in all areas. But definitely my ground game can be a huge factor, and I do feel like I have a very big advantage there. But that's all just depends on I guess my game plan is always the same: as punch them in the face, take their back, and choke them out. So I feel very, very confident in my ground game against anybody in the UFC.
Do you believe that Weili has had to show how good she can be, whether it be wrestling, takedown defense, submission ability, through just not too many fights up to this point for her in this quick rise she's had?
I mean, you can look at her. I mean, yeah, maybe she doesn't have a lot of UFC fights, but I mean, she has a huge list of experience and outside of the UFC. So I mean, you can see that she's a very well-rounded fighter just based on her other fights before the UFC. So, I don't think she has anything to prove. I just think that, I definitely have a lot of respect for her skills.
I love this fight because I think styles contrasting here. It's among the best matchups UFC can make. I think if anybody can slow down what Weili's doing, it's certainly you. I can't wait to see this. I think you're a very live dog. In fact, I could make a strong argument that you could even be favored as the challenger in this. But we're not so much talking about that as much as we are now about some of these other headlines from your comments on anti-communism. And I certainly can see all sides on this. Were you surprised that this became such a big story in the past week, when normally we'd be talking about this matchup a little bit more?
Yeah, my intentions weren't to, I mean, I wasn't talking about Weili personally or specifically her. I was literally just referencing a documentary, The Other Dream Team. And, so, I mean, that's kind of the media's job, is to kind of make things bigger than what they are, or, twist things out of control.
Us, Rose? What do you who, us? What do we do? We don't do that, right? Yeah, right.
Yeah, I mean, that definitely wasn't my intentions, but I don't have any control over that. I was just being myself, and I was just talking about, The Other Dream Team and my family history, and the whole reason that I'm in the United States and why I ended up being an MMA fighter. It's literally, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for all that stuff. So yeah, but it has nothing to do with her.
I say I understand both sides because I got your intention and how you use that to motivate you. I also got that people were like, well, maybe that was a little unfair to Weili. And then I see people going extremes and saying that was some racist talk right there. Did you take offense to their offense? I mean, look, I'm not trying to be insensitive, but we're very, it's a sensitive time for a lot of really good reasons right now with PC and all that. But, when suddenly you're seeing racist Rose, how did you react to that?
I didn't see that at all, but I don't know. I don't know why that would be confused for that at all. Never said anything about China or her culture or anything like that.
I hear you. It's a crazy time right now. Focusing on the fights is certainly more important heading into this one. We are in a great strawweight era. Like, let's be honest, the division's only been around for 6-7 years in the UFC, but there are like future Hall of Famers, trading off in title bouts. And we've seen, Jess Andrade hold the title, you, Joanna, Weili, and every time you guys fight each other, fireworks happen. Do you ever allow yourself to take a step back and sort of kind of realize that like this is a special time with a special group of women? When you look at, you know, no disrespect to anybody, but flyweight division not deep in the UFC, featherweight's never been deep, bantamweight's going through a restructuring, strawweight's all killer, no filler every time. Are you able to grasp that?
I mean, there's moments where I step back and I'm like, yeah, this strawweight division is very interesting, but I think just MMA in general is super interesting. And I mean, I'm definitely honored to be a part of the strawweight division. And I think that you know, us being, you know, the smallest, you know, quote unquote, like females, and we're the smallest fighters in, you know, the biggest fight organization ever. It's pretty cool, you know, how that we can produce so much power with these little strawweight fists, even though I wear bantamweight gloves.
There you go. There you go. You, of course, that we all know, fought for the first UFC Women's Strawweight Championship back in 2014. Rose, that feels like decades ago in terms of the growth you've made as a fighter. How often do you ever even look at that tape of you against Carla Esparza? And I'm curious, like, what is your reaction if you do come across those highlights?
It's like watching a kind of not embarrassing video when you were a kid, but like, you know, just watching or looking at like an old picture of you like back in high school or something where you maybe had a funny haircut or like some weird clothes. No, but I mean, like it was such a pivotal moment in my career, and it was, you know, responsible for making me the person that I am today. So it's a moment that I'm super grateful for. But yeah, I don't know if I go back and watch it that often.
I saw the aforementioned Joanna Jedrzejczyk mention, quote, the baddest bitch on the planet is coming back, and she wants the winner of this fight on Saturday night. I don't expect you to have a big reaction to that, but if you beat Weili, you against Joanna a third time, I'm sure that's a big ass fight to make. The fans would love it, but would you have the same motivation having defeated her twice to have to do it a third time?
I'm always motivated to fight the boogie, so that would always excite me.
Okay. Have you grown to love Joanna Jedrzejczyk? Is there a party that's like, you know, she's spunky, she's okay in the end?
Yeah, I love her, man. She's, you know, I wouldn't be the person I am today if it wasn't for her. And, you know, I love all my opponents. They always bring out the best in me, and I learn a lot from them. So yeah, nothing but love for Joanna, nothing but love for Weili or Andrade, all them girls. They can all get some love.
All right. As it pertains to Saturday night in this co-main event, we just talked about how Weili showed she can go into the deep end of the pool. 5 rounds of hell with Joanna, an insane fight. You went through hell in that fight with Andrade in the rematch. Do you expect it to go south? Meaning, like, we're gonna rumble. It's gonna be blood and guts. I mean, would you prefer it's a technical fight that you can win? How do you force? I know you're prepared for anything, but do you want a war? What do you want here entering Saturday besides the belt here? Yeah.
No, I'm a very intelligent fighter. You know, obviously, you know, I use my movement and I have really good defense. So, is that something that I'm prepared for, and it's something that I know that I can do? Yes. But is that something that, you know, I desire? I don't think anybody really desires that. I think unless they're, you know, something's wrong with them. But yeah, I'm gonna use my intelligence and pick her apart.
What are your expectations for the return of the crowds? And I know you got a chance to fight during the pandemic last year with an empty arena. How much does that affect being in there? You know, how much do you thrive off of that noise typically as compared to your last fight?
I think that I'm fine with either. You know, I think it's, you know, it's a little easier to hear your corner without the crowd, but you know, the crowd is what makes the complete experience, and it makes it exhilarating, and it's gonna be man, it's gonna be quite a show. So I think having the crowd there is going to complete the experience.
All right. Rose, where does Thug come from in terms of the origin story on the nickname? I feel like I've never asked you this, but I see it on t-shirts. Daniel Cormier yelling it. It's still ringing in my ear, right? You know, Thug Rose. Where does this come from?
Yeah, it came from some neighborhood friends when I was growing up. You know, I was always kind of just like, everybody sort of looked at me as like I was just kind of this weak little girl, and but I had a tough attitude, and I, in order to defend myself, that's the persona that I created, because needed to defend myself. So whenever somebody try to mess with me, they say, "Oh, that's Thug Rose right there. Don't mess with her."
We all want to have that, how you like me now moment when we go back to our high school reunion, and we're full bloom. We're successful, we're happy, and we can look in the eyes of all those kids that are probably changing oil now, and there's nothing wrong with changing oil. But Rose, do you have that? Were the people that you grew up with, well, I mean, are they shocked that you're champion now? What has been the reaction like when you run into the old guard?
Yeah, there's nothing about my life right now that I'd want to stick it to anybody. That is, I know that we all have a different path in life, and that just because my path is, bit crazy and unorthodox, and it's, in front of lots of people and whatnot. I don't think, no matter what, if I wasn't gonna be MMA fighter, it's gonna be the best whatever I was gonna be, even if it was, I'm just a garbage woman, or I'm a male woman, or I don't know what I was gonna be, but I was gonna do it to the best of my ability. So the fact that I have this opportunity to be a fighter and to inspire people and to change the world with mixed martial arts, it's a huge blessing.
And you've always been big on that inspiring part and putting out a positive message, and I appreciate that. But as we enter into this fight and sort of end it with this, what is going to be the difference? What is the difference, X's and O's wise, between you and Weili Zhang heading into this title fight?
My vision and my belief in myself and my control over my emotions, and knowing that, having faith in my higher power, that whatever will be will be.
All right, we're going to see that UFC 261 pay-per-view Saturday night, Jacksonville, Florida. We back, full crowd. Can't wait to do it. Rose, thank you for your time and best of luck in this one.
Thank you so much.